we have an exciting topic for you today. As you guys responded, we had really great participation, really high registration numbers on this, over much more than just a normal run-of-the-mill webinar, because there's a lot going on right now. So special treat, we have owner of PQ Pharmacy here with us, Hale Dimetry, today. Hello.
Hello, Nicolette. Hello, Annie.
Hi, Haley. Good to have you.
Good to see you guys too. And hello to everybody else for joining us.
Yep. So we have our Palm Harbor crew here, our Tampa, Florida crew, with Haley pretty much being our neighbor. So we're excited. We always look to Haley and to PQ, especially for just compliance-wise, regulatory-wise. You're so knowledgeable and just always on top of things, researching, just looking and trying to look out for and protect pharmacies and the profession and patients. And so we always appreciate having you as a resource and being able to ask you questions. And I know you're getting ready to go to the FDA conference that's coming up, I think tomorrow or so.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll look for your report back on that, at all the problems that were fixed at that conference.
I pray.
Right, I know it. So today we have a really exciting topic. We're going to let Haley have the controls, and me and Annie are going to hang out. But I know we have a lot of burning questions for you, and I'm sure that all of our pharmacy friends, participants do as well. So we'll let you jump in with the slide deck, Haley, and then really cool stuff to talk about. There's a lot going on in the 503B market right now.
You guys able to see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, amazing, great. I'll let you guys start it off if you don't mind. Here is the presenters. Everybody knows who's there. This is me. Don't need to know much about me. I guess you guys know PQ Pharmacy is good enough. But anyways, I've been doing compounding almost since 2005. Actually, I started my passion in compounding when I went to school. I went to school in New York. I worked with Dr. Cutie in his lab while I was in school. Extra curricular, if I may say. I worked for him for almost 2 years in that lab. He was preparing the albuterol HFA inhaler after that, and he got a patent for it. So I was one of the students that was helping that project. Here is what we're going to discuss today. I'm going to do a little bit of GLP-1 industry updates, what we know, what we think. Again, this is not going to be any legal opinion. This is going to be pharmacist to pharmacist speaking here. Yes, we're, and just everybody, I'm sure everybody does know, FDA regulates 503B manufacturing because it's mass compounding. FDA does not regulate 503A compounders. It's based on their state. However, as a Federal Food and Drug Administration, they have authority over them without registration to ensure patient safety. So they don't have to register with them, but however, they have to ensure patient safety. If there are issues, they will go to different 503As and do their inspections as well. We'll talk a little bit about how to report the shortages, talking about the current portfolio for pharmacies, what you can buy from us in the near future. That's what's being on R&D, goes with the new products, and how to select a 503B to work with. Unfortunately, GLPs, we existed before GLPs. GLPs have opened the door to a lot of business-oriented individuals to get into the industry, to be only capital-driven, not quality-driven, not regulation-driven. And what's making it worse is a lot of us pharmacists and a lot of the doctors' offices are not very familiar with the 503B regulations, and they do not do a good evaluation and screening of the providers. However, this is a responsibility for every healthcare professional usually to make sure the supply chain is verified and is compliant. This is actually an actual picture of our facility. It's about 12,000 square feet with about 3,500 square feet of clean rooms. We have both hazardous units and non-hazardous suites. Each is dedicated with its own air conditioning system, its own HEPA filters, its own generators, its own humidity controls to be compliant with GSP 800 as well as CGMP. We've been inspected twice, both of them with a voluntary inspection closing. So we're going to get into more into 483s later on, but I want you to remember that how did the 503B closed the inspection? Everybody gets inspection, everybody gets notes on inspection. But a voluntary inspection is different than an action inspection. So we're going to speak a little bit about the terzepatides, the semaglutide, where they are with the landscape right now. We're going to speak a little bit about state legislations like Ohio and what are we doing with this. I want to start by reporting shortages. The main reason the shortages came up because people report them. Pharmacies are on the forefront of the reporting, with either the pharmacist or the patient. I would encourage you, when you do your marketing, you can actually make like flyers, you can make tear out pads where tells the patients how to go in and do it. Do not use any third party. There are people at different telemedicine platforms like Crow and others. They let you register through them to report the shortages, however they get your emails. I would encourage everybody to go to the FDA, just Google DSM-submissions, fda.gov, and go through the process. I believe we can send a video as well. I'm trying to get this here to you guys to see. This is the link. Feel free to take a screenshot of it. This is how the page will look like. Okay. And I will start asking you question. Is the drug in shortages? Yes and no. Submitting information. Are you a patient or caregiver? Are you a healthcare provider? Are you I can't really read so good on it, but all the steps will be in there and they will go through it. This is the best way to report shortages. Except for that, FDA does not consider things that are going from third-party reporting because it's not direct reporting. It's just a way for them to select and collect information on patients. I'm gonna.
On the shortages, do you think that it's a possibility that the semaglutide and the tirzepatide could go back on a shortage status?
So it's two things. If it's a real shortage, I'm gonna get off tangent for a minute here, okay? So as you guys saw, it's public information. Catalent, which was purchased for $16.5 billion back in November of last year by one of the GLP manufacturers, just published their inspection of 483 of 21 pages of serious issues. They found hair from cats in the vials and in the syringes and in other various stuff. Initially, when the shortage did happen, it happened because of also another 483 on Catalent. However, I'm not sure if it is the same plant that is doing that or not. But I'd like to say it like this. I was talking to Annette earlier, and I was told her, out of 1 million people, how many people will win the lottery? She said 1 or 2. I'm like, how many will win it twice? She said probably 0. So it happened to a lot of pharmacies. It was very good economically. That shortage of GLP does happen. But the only way GLP are going to happen, there's no prediction, is when we're reporting it. When we're reporting that we cannot find it. When the patients are reporting it. Once we get enough reporting, it will go back on the list. Again, people are, we have a whole section on, I'm going to go back and just go through this a little bit. So here is what the latest few weeks have done for us. A lot of the 503B people that got into the business, they were 503As. There is one in Florida and there is one in Texas. I will refrain from saying any names. They started doing it under research and development. This is a way to evade. However, they sell the product, no liability for them. But us, as licensed pharmacies, we are not allowed to sell research and development product. People are jumping on it. The one in Florida got visited by the FDA, and we believe that they're gonna maybe take some legal action. That's what we heard from some of the insiders. However, as a pharmacist, I know I cannot sell research and development grade. I cannot do contracts with any research and development grade. If it's a 503A that turned into a 503B, they have to comply fully with the 503Bs. They do not do that because currently there is one 503B that's reputable, that is bringing in tirzepatide with vitamins. However, we do not think that the landscape applies for that. they mentioned that they will be doing it based on applying to add tirzepatide plus P6 into the compounding list. This did not take place per OFA chairman. This also did not take place per FDA website. However, maybe they're looking for a patent way in to add the tirzepatide P6 and sell it at large. We just at PQ Pharmacy think it's a legal battle. I'm not sure every pharmacist have to make his judgment based on what his state will allow, because 503A compounding is allowed for the exception per patient. So I'm not sure if a pharmacist is willing to stock on to have it in stock and say it's a particular patient. I'm not sure how the inspectors will take it. Given a state like Ohio, they said, if you sell any, if you do any thing with GLP that's compounded, regardless of what it is, you're going to have a summary judgment against you, which means they're going to close you within a week. Summary judgment. They close you and then you fight your way back to open your business. Other states are taking the same stance, Kentucky, and there's a couple of more that will come up. Again, this is all arising from non-503B pharmacies that are just getting into the business to make products. What's even more wild, we heard about some 503B pharmacies that are extending the dating on their product after they sold it. That's illegal. I've never seen a label being taken off a vial and being put on again, or there is no statement. As you guys know, as pharmacists, I cannot dispense a vial that expires next month and says, oh, here's a statement from the manufacturer that's good for 6 more months. You're liable. That's your license on the line there, okay? So I know salespeople are going to push you. I know business is good with the GLPs, but know that you're taking a risk. Again, this is not a legal opinion. This is for a pharmacist sharing his, take on how the pharmacy industry is operating right now. I would stay miles away from research and development. I will stay miles away from people who are doing any relabeling or extending labeling for a sold product already. They cannot do that. Those are the two major things. If for the new addition of GLPs with vitamins, please reach out to your state. Ask them, am I allowed to carry this? If they said yes, document the name, the time. If you want to do it by email, just have something on you, because if the manufacturer comes after you or if the state comes after you, you already dotted your I's and crossed your T's. You're all safe there. It's very important. I'm going to get into another topic just to get all those topics, because before we present for you the new formulas that we have and new items that can actually make you very good profit, help your patient as well. We're going to get into that in a minute. I just want to discuss a little bit 483s. So there is 2 ways to close out an inspection after an FDA have visited a facility. They either give you a VCI, which is a voluntary closing inspection, or an action closing inspection. Voluntary means if you see somebody still an open 483 on the FDA website, if it's 90 days since the closing and they did not really send a warning letter or action or anything, and the inspector should tell you on the way out, is a VCI or ACI. That means, he sees your operation, okay, he just wrote those notes to make sure you're compliant with it, but he doesn't see an action is mandatory for you. Versus an action closing, which means you will probably get a warning letter, or the FDA may go up and sue you because you are presenting something that's not safe. A warning letter, 483, is serious, should be taken seriously. You should investigate and have your own drafted statement. Okay, I looked at what the pharmacy sent back to the FDA. But usually, if it's a VCI, you will have a response from the pharmacy. If it's an action closing, you will also have a response from the pharmacy. Read the closeout. Ask for the closeout. If it makes sense to you, write your own statement. We found the closeout is satisfactory. No, we do not see the closeout is satisfactory. If there is a warning letter, there is more risk on you. If states will get to that. And currently, a lot of drug manufacturers are doing a lot of education and wrong education, unfortunately, to the state boards and pushing them against compounding for business reasons. So you guys need to do your homework. I have one piece of good information that's not on the slides. Some of the peptides that was not on the do not compound list, maybe being added back for the 503B industry to start doing it, but there is still some immunogenicity tests and various research that's being done to make sure this is appropriate and safe, which was what the BCAC meeting was about. And when they choose to take it out, this is the reasoning for them with some immunogenicity studies. And I think they're been submitted and they're evaluating them.
What kind of peptides do you mean, like the BPC?
BBC 157 and a couple of others, yes. Again, I don't have any legal information. All I know is it's been presented and it is looked at again. They've asked for some more, because what happened is they took recommendation from drug manufacturers saying it's not safe, and they just took them off the compounding list without further studies. So we're trying to show them studies of safety and efficacy. And here's the thing in the 503B industry. Some people are very aggressive, again, because they're business driven, or some are regulation and quality driven. We really try to carry our name in the way we do our business, precision and quality. That's what PQ stands for.
We get a lot of questions about, peptides in general. And one of the main things we get is people sending us some very alarming kind of sites where we know that they're all research grade. And
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then they're,
That one in Florida, and that one in Texas. Oh my God, a lot of research and development. And it's bad. And some of them just buy the stuff from. I'm not talking about certain single ones because I'm not sure, but
and
some of the techs work here and work there, and they say, "Oh, we bought this and we're relabeling this." It's crazy.
Yeah, they pose the pharmacies as, oh no, here it is. You just reconstitute this and you can sell it. But right on there it says research grade, which is not for human use.
Yeah. And the pharmacies, our pharmacies, I'd love for you guys to go there and educate your doctors. Doctors don't know. The salespeople and brokers are filling the market and filling that section. And the doctors need to know from you guys that they are liable. They cannot do that. They lie to them. The salespeople lie to them all the time. That should be your forefront there. Doctors worry about the licenses, and most of them want to do the right thing, but they're fed the wrong information.
Right. Yeah, that's a big, we had a lot of clinics in our area where there were reps for research grade chemicals and that going out to them. It's interesting too, and I know we've been fielding a lot of questions on this very topic, and GLPs and combo GLP products. We had a question come in as well that we'll address here in this topic, and then we'll get into more product portfolio things and things on the horizon. But with the combo GLP products, so there's been rumors that there's a handful of 503Bs out there that have started making a GLP combo product. I know I don't want to say it's a gray area. It's an area that someone's going to be the tip of the spear. So like one of these big 503Bs is going to be the tip of the spear. We're going to see how big pharma responds to them. We're going to see how the FDA responds to them bringing this combo product into the market. There's nothing inherently wrong with them bringing it to the market. It just carries great risk because you have the FDA that, this is new. So who knows what they're going to do? You have pharma with their patents. Who knows how they're going to try to enforce their patents? Is it an essential copy? If you say the B6 doesn't count, is it a non-essential copy? So it'll be really interesting to see how that plays out. So with all that being said, I know that a lot of 503Bs have, research and development. So you guys have things that you're testing, that you're working on the stability and sterility and like your production lines and things like that. So do you have anything to add on that, Haley?
Yes. Well, I cannot speak of others, but generally speaking, we are doing the research and development just in case these products are approved to add, to add various product for specific section of patients who are in medical need for it.
Right.
And can be done at a 503B. So we're doing this research and development. However, we are not going to go to market with anything before we make sure that there's no infringement on patents. Everything is kind of settled the waters. As you said, one of the bigger ones maybe going to market with it, but I don't know. This will, because I know I don't just look at myself. What if they didn't go after the 503B and they went after the medical spas and the doctor's offices and pharmacies and the state boards? Now I've caused a lot of damage to my downstream. I'm trying to find out first, wait it out and see what's going to happen with the legal landscape before we send it to market. But we're doing research and development and studies for various addition to GLBs, just to put in our back pocket. If it's something that will be kosher with the FDA and the patent attorneys, will go for it. If it's not going to be, and I see other people getting hurt, which I don't know what to say. I expected maybe. I mean, they're not going to just do that, but I'm more worried about mostly the pharmacies because the state boards are very strict and they listen a lot to the manufacturing area. Some of the doctors' offices are more protected than that, but it's again the job of the pharmacists to educate their local doctors about the pros and cons.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that's a very fair stance. When I look at our membership at Atrium24 and at Dotti, we've been getting a lot of demand and a lot of pharmacies that want to dispense a combo product. Of course, there's a lot of legal disclaimers and things like that. And absolutely, it's check with your state board. And it's also exactly to your point, Haley, if you're going to dispense a combo GLP product, there has to be a medical necessity. There has to be a reason why the patient can't take the commercially available product and why they need a combo product, or why they need a tirzepatide with B6, or we've seen it with niacinamide, or just in the A side.
And very different dosing that they can't get.
Yeah. Some of the state boards are requesting, just like when you guys do the opioid CEs and everything else, if it's something is off, okay, request a call, request a reasoning, request a documentation on every single script.
Yeah. If you're going to fill them, I would definitely have documentation from the prescriber as to why there's a medical necessity.
Yeah, but you will have to explain also the state board why you carry this on site. Why are you carrying it on site? It's not in a shortage. How come you're expecting that?
That's right.
This is really where I see the states again. That's why better safe, like Nicolette said, just check with your state before you get into it. Check with your state. However, there is, I'm going to go into the liraglutide right there. Yes, it's a once daily injection. We have flyers that we've made for what is the pros and cons. And actually, some people, I know, don't like to poke themselves daily, but at least they stop this curve of high and low of what it is. So it works every day versus some people are saying the GLPs is a little bit different. So if somebody want to do it kosher, you go and you teach your docs about the liraglutide and give them all the other options we have. I want to get into the ophthalmic, if there is no more further question for now, a little bit, just to get the new product that can make you guys, $35 to $40 a patient of extra income, and you can actually do more based on what your area is at. The ophthalmic products, just to give a little bit of a clue. I'm trying to make a close up here. There is 3 to 4 million cataract surgeries in the US a year. 3 to 4 million. There's 16 million patients who suffer from dry eye. A lot of those products are currently sold from the doctor's offices. A lot of the doctor office ophthalmologists and cataract and LASIK surgery centers, they would rather not deal with all of that. Some of them, they like the profit in it, but most of them, the doctors, if there's somebody local, they would do it. So the patient problem with that is they need to take 3 different drops, the steroid, the antibiotic, and the NSAID. Usually something like prednisolone, moxifloxacin, and bromfenac, or similar. And they have to remember, I gotta wait 5 minutes. And imagine you're a patient, you can't see well. You put those drops, then you pick up the second drop, and instead of going to the third drop after, you go to the first drop again. So a lot of people over-medicate, a lot of people under-medicate. They have to wait 5 minutes 3 times a day. So the patient problem is in compliance, is in application, is in remembering, but you can already see good. The doctor's problem, they don't want to dispense in office, like we said. They're looking for somebody, okay, go to your, Pop's pharmacy down the road and just pick up your prescriptions from there. So it will make life a lot easier. Some people do dispensing contracts with their physicians if it's a cash patient or whatever, and they just do the dispensing for the doctor's patients. So you can set it up different ways, either dispensing on behalf of the office to make a contract with them, the medication, or you can just send you the patients.
Yeah, I really like the eyedrop program because, like you said, you guys started out before GLPs in your 503B, and you had these sterile eyedrop combo products. And so, it's funny, all of our pharmacies were really hot and heavy on the GLPs when they were on shortage. And that may be coming back around now. We have more news breaking on that daily. And in the meantime, keep your reps out, keep visiting local prescribers. And now that you already have a relationship with PQ and you already have access to the marketing resources and such inside of Dotti and the data analytics, we have pharmacies now picking up traction now that they've been using that sales system. They said, okay, now we're going to go visit our local surgery centers, our eye doctors, and we're going to tell them about these combo eye drop products. Because like you said, I mean, that's a nice relationship to have in the business, is if you have patients who are going into eye doctors and getting these cataract surgeries, if you have that relationship with the clinic, just every patient that they do the surgery on, you get that same prescription bundle, sent to your pharmacy. And I know, Haley, we were talking earlier today, and you were talking even about like a surgical kit with like eye patch and just ancillary items that you can add in the surgery kit for the eye surgeries. So
yeah, and actually, like, you have the option also. Let's say you make a mother account and the doctor like to carry, like we have a dilating eye drop that they use before the patient comes in. So sometimes the doctor, you can make a mother account, so the doctor will be nested under your account. So if you have savings with us, you still even if the doctor that you introduced to PQ Pharmacy and they bought some of the stuff directly through us, they're still nested under your account, so you can get the rewards back on this, which we have pharmacies that make it somewhere between 5 to 10% of the sales that does on this. Every time the doctor orders something straight for a product that you use in his procedure, you get paid some money towards your product that you will sell out of your pharmacy. It goes all the way from double drops, triple drops. There is some injectables that say some people prefer not to add the antibiotic. So what they do is they inject during the surgery a moxifloxacin vial. Obviously, you're not going to sell it from them to the office unless your state allows that. So you can order it from us and sell it to the office as a moxifloxacin injection, or they can order from us and you be able to make some rewards back to your ordering. So what they do is they order for them the prednisolone bromfenac eye drops, which is a preservative-free, which makes the prognosis of the surgery a lot better because there's preservative-free. It comes in a preservative-free bottle that allows the dispensing without a preservative. And then they order the vials directly to inject into the eye. So you'll find different formulas, different doctors do it in different ways. We have our sales team that can do education for every single one of you that is willing to start a program like this. We're willing to dedicate certain individuals we have. They can do all the education, send you all the flyers, ask all your questions. We can actually, if there's enough numbers, maybe during that new Atrium conference, if you want to bring your marketers through, either through Zoom or in person, we can have a class for you guys how to market this stuff, and it will not be any additional, charges. We will do that for Atrium clients.
yeah, that's great. We even had the Wedgwood Veterinary was doing some like trainings and things and that, and so I think we convinced them to make a video for us so we could load it into Learn as well.
Yeah, it's really
in
useful
our
hearing
Dotti
from,
pool.
yeah, the actual people that are out there making it, have been selling it for a long time. So that would be great. And Haley, if you want to reshare your screen, I think we lost the slides. If you want to pull them back up so everybody can.
Yeah, then
Sure. Oh my God, you got to see my silly face all this time.
No, we only see our silly faces.
That's
we don't
right.
There's your face.
There's your face. Thank goodness.
Wonderful. Yes. So you guys have a pretty big offering of eye drops.
Yeah, so we have, like, I'm gonna zoom on those. Like, this is the prednisolone, moxifloxacin, bromfenac, like I said, the steroid, antibiotic, and the NSAID. Then we have another one, which is the prednisolone and the moxifloxacin. It all depends. Some are used for LASIK, some are used for cataract, some needs more anti-inflammatory. They will add the steroid and the NSAID, some are less. Then you will get here to also the predprom, which is just when people inject. It's only prednisolone and bromfenac, and people will inject it. It's right there. Okay, the orange label. All of those are trademarked under just one drop formula. It's all trademarked and patented. We have a specific for the 16 million patients that have dry eye. There is nothing on the market that is preservative-free. That Hydro C cyclosporin 0.1% is preservative-free because of the bottle. If you notice the bottle, you see this cap? This cap have a 0.2 micron filter that goes through. It's the same industry. It comes from France. Those are the only approved multi-dose preservative-free bottles in the world approved by the FDA. Not just that, as a hydrating agent, we add sodium hyaluronate, not hyaluronic acid. Sodium hyaluronate is what makes the matrix of this suspension, which is hydrating by, I think it was 100,000 more than the hyaluronic acid that's available in the over-the-counter eye drops. This sells really good. Your patients will always come back for it. Doctors like it. We have a special presentation on the Hydro C, so when you go to your doctors, they see the pros and the cons, and you can dispense it from either the pharmacy, or you can mail it, or you can deliver it to the patients. A lot of them don't drive. The dry eyes get to them after a while. It's an amazing product. It's trademarked also for us. This is the dilation drops, the tropicamide phenylephrine. That's what I was saying. They get use them in the office. So the office may buy them directly, either those or the moxifloxacin, or they buy it from you. Or sometime, and instead of the waiting room being full of people, everybody getting the dilating eye drops and waiting for half hour, you can tell them, you know what? We carry a 5 ml, send them over to us. We'll sell it to them, and they apply the drops home before they even get to you. You get to see them, and there is less people waiting in your waiting area. Everything that we make out of those eye drops are, again, CGMB, research and development has been through them. Annual studies have been for them. They're all stored at room temperature. So if you're delivering it or if you're mailing it to somebody, you don't have to worry about ice. There is a minimum order of 10. We find that more applicable for pharmacies who are starting programs. Most people that ever offer anything like that is in 25 and 30 units per box. Have a 12 months PUD, all of that. All of our products have almost a 12 months PUD. Again, there is more key features on them, okay? Their solutions, a lot of the market have suspensions. Suspensions, as you know, they don't evenly distribute. So if the patient did not shake them really well and apply it, it might not get an even distribution. And also for the solutions, how much they penetrate the eye and how much they go through the sclera and how much concentration is bioavailable. Obviously, as you know from school days, solutions are better. Again, I mentioned is 20 drops. So preservative-free have 20 drops per ml. So this have about 104, 130 drops or so in general. If people use it both eyes for 3 weeks, usually what that is, you will need only one bottle. Some people, when they do both eyes, they will need an 8.6 ml. So you can have with one bottle, you can have both eyes done. Or if it's one eye, you can do one eye only with one bottle. So a larger bottle, larger scale bottle, so the people can hold it with 3 hands. Most of our senior patients have arthritis and so forth. Using a bigger bottle, yes, it have less fill, but allows for a more accurate dispensing. Excuse me. And the bottles that come for the cyclosporin, the Hydro C, the ones I told you are patented for multi-dose preservative-free. You feel free to look at them. They're called Novelia one-way valve bottle. Novelia one-way valve bottle. Again, it's done with sodium hyaluronate for a waiting agent. We also have for you different sheets where you can add your logo, as you see here, with some information on the product. Okay, it's an ordering form. You can put your logo on it. The doctors can have it if you're ordering through your pharmacy. We can have the instructions how to administer, how to store it, and the whole 9 yards. Sometimes the doctors will want the first week to be done day 1 so, day 2 so the patients can keep track of how many days they're using it and which eye. We'll have those sheets for you. You can just put your logo right there. So you give this information to the patient when you dispense it. You're taking away about 10-15 minutes of every patient for the doctor. They would love you if you carry this on site. Do you have any questions in the ophthalmic? So before I go to the new products we have, is there any comments? Is anything maybe?
There's just a question that came through. A minimum order is 10. Is that individual or assorted on the ophthalmics?
Individual, but if you need to get like 5 on 5, we'll make the exceptions for the Atrium patients. We really want to get you guys going with this. Again, this is 4 million cataract surgeries a year and 16 million dry eye patients, guys. There's a lot of business besides GLP-1s that's just out there, and the pharmacies are not taking advantage of it.
Yeah. And then Glenda asked, is there a way to get the marketing pages prior to ordering so we can share with the doctors?
Of course.
Yeah, you can email PQ for their marketing materials. We have them in Dotti as well. And when you download them, it automatically adds your logo to it so that you can bring those right out to your prescribers. They're in the PQ Pharmacy folder in the Dotti resources as well, because I know Glenda's a member.
Yeah, Glenda, there's a whole suite of info. We'll go into it a little bit more, but the
Yeah.
sheets that Haley had pulled up, we've just reformatted it a little bit to make it a little bit more user friendly, and it'll auto download with your branding information. So those are in there, and then we also have a lot of additional information about, we're listening to Haley, but we're taking in so much info, we'll forget. But so we have information on, why they use the sodium hyaluronate and the specific bottles, and why preservatives are not actually great for people with dry eye. So we have all that information and a lot of additional information as well.
And also, like, there's also the kits that sometimes the patients will need after the surgery, which have the very dark eyeglasses. Sometimes they have special gauzes or something to hide one eye from. So there's those kits that, like, that we can get you some of those kits under our contract from the manufacturers to be a couple of dollars. You guys can put a couple of dollars profit on it, or you can give them for free and build it in your eye drops price. This really makes the life of the doctor's office and the nurses beautiful. It just takes away, again, from every patient that 10-15 minutes to do all this education. You're telling them, let me give you service, let me give you solutions. And yes, sometimes they make charge for it, but the nurses hate it. They would rather not make the profit from it, but have it for the patient. And I think this is a very good intro for you guys to get through the gatekeepers.
Yeah, I agree. It's a great solution.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't offer value and quality, well, we're not going to keep the clients, even if we get them.
Yeah.
So here is what we're coming for us here on the other anti-aging and wellness. The liraglutide should be ready by the end of next week. Research and development have been done. We're going to market for it as of next week. Over the next 2-3 months, we'll have glutathione, sermorelin, methylcobalamin, and ascorbic acid, as well as NAD+. All of this probably we're hoping by the fourth quarter we'll have all those products. The liraglutide is going to be a lot sooner, so is the glutathione and the methylcobalamin. They're going to come in different doses. Okay, there is webinars, as you guys see, that have on those 3 products. I think they're done independently by Atrium to give you more education and more information. We also have what is the benefits of using the liraglutide, even though it's once a daily injection, but it is in a shortage list. It is going to be 100% legally kosher and acceptable. It will give the same results with compliant patients. As well as the rest, the methylcobalamin, it's a vitamin B12, as we guys know. A lot of the people that actually gain weight because they're anemic or the metabolism rate is low, and a lot of it's because of missing vitamin B12. Again, it's also good for nerve function. Ascorbic acid, if you guys want to make a connection with your medical spas, a lot of the infusion people need ascorbic acid to be carried on site at a pharmacy. Most of them order, but they don't like to order in 10s and 20s. So if you have a couple of medical spas around you, once they know you can carry ascorbic acid, And again, you can bundle it under a mother account, even if they order directly from PQ. You guys will set them up, and most of those guys would also have the non-sterile compounding. We do not do any, but that allows you to get to be a one-stop shop. Okay, you know, you need methylcobalamin, you need ascorbic acid, you need glutathione, you need non-sterile. I'll do the non-sterile here, and I'll set you with preferred pricing for your injectables if you want to order them straight, or if your state allows the doctor office to order from you, and I believe most states allow, as long as it's per patient that's going to them. You guys can carry the ascorbic acid, the methylcobalamin, all those injectables in-house. So this way, and the way you approach the doctor's office is like, listen, you do not have to keep a log for your temperature. You do not have to worry about being able to dispense or not from the office. All you need to do is just order them. We'll have it, you know, for you right away. If where you order your injectables from will take time, you know, why don't we do it right away and have you order from us and, you know, delivered for you the same day. The liraglutide doses we have 3 different doses, 30 milligram vial, 45 and 90, usually the first month, second month, or maintenance. Some people don't need the prescribed dose as the manufactured dose. We made this based on changing from one dose to another and stepping up because not everybody is the same. The glutathione will be a 200 milligram per ml, either in a 10 ml or a 30 ml for multi-vials. Ascorbic acid is only 500 milligram, 30 ml. It is NAD plus, it's a 500 milligram vial. The methylcobalamin will have the 1 milligram and 5 milligram. I usually recommend using the 5 milligram per ml. Methylcobalamin 1 milligram is a little bit more on the less sensitive side stability, but we do have it and the best R&D, but I usually prefer patients to get the 5 milligram. Some people do the sub-Q or IM as well. And the sermorelin is also available. It will be available within the next few months. You'll have more information coming and new product specs. You're going to have a sheet for every product and pros and cons and everything for it and what it's used for. We went through this previously. I'm just going to give a refresher again. You want to check your last FDA inspection. How was the closeout, voluntary or action? You want to look at what did the 483 look like? And what was an advocate response or not to the 483? If it makes sense to you, then you draft your own statement. You can say, my 503B does not do research and development. The 503B that we use have been inspected and they have response letters and they did not get a warning letter. They're very big on the warning letters, okay? Does your third-party lab testing or do you do it in-house? I would categorize it less effective per the FDA recommendations. They like to see third-party testing on every single lot. That's what PQ does. Not just skip testing that will test 3 and not 1. So it have to be a third-party lab testing. There's other 503B that relabel, they own an ABI company. So they mix. Well, you shouldn't be really buying from somebody who is vertical, who buys his own ABI. How would you know? Really, I mean, this is really what the dilemma happened initially with the GLPs, people using salts. Are all the lots being tested or just once every 3? And what are the standards for the API supplier? Does the API supplier have a drug master file on the FDA? Can I search it? If they send you a COA, can I find a drug master file on the FDA website? That's what you will be asked if, you know, if you grow in this, they will be asking you about all this stuff.
Absolutely. And so that's a lot of great information, and there's a lot going on in the market right now. It's interesting. The 503B comeback. I know that was the title of today. Not that they've ever gone anywhere, but you know, the shortage was so busy. I don't want to say wild because it was orderly. It was just busy.
It was a little wild.
Well, with some players out in the market, you know, like you said, Haley, some of them get into it for the wrong reasons and they're not as diligent or compliant as they should be. But that was very busy. And then now, you know, there's a lot of prescribers, and this is exactly lending to the point of the eye drops and the other wellness products. There's a lot of prescribers that were neglected, and a lot of disease states and compound items that were neglected during the GLP craze when everything was in shortage. And so we always tell our pharmacies, don't forget about them, or don't stop visiting them. So if you're most compliant, I would continue visiting them and let them know about the liraglutide. You should definitely visit your prescribers and let them know about liraglutide. And that's the most compliant thing to do right now. And you're absolutely right, Haley, is liraglutide. It's on the shortage list, right? And then you guys are able to compound it. I know Annie's excited about your 90 milligram vial offering, because if you're going to be switching patients over and things like that. So
I think a lot of people will end up at the higher dose due to the efficacy of the liraglutide. So
Yeah.
I really like that PQ has that larger vial for sure that'll take them through a full month. And then Haley touched on it a little bit, but you know, there are definitely benefits for some patients on the liraglutide. A lot of them can see less side effects. So patients who even really wanted to be on a GLP but really couldn't just because they were having so many side effects is a good option. And then being able to titrate that dose a lot faster is nice. Especially if patients are switching from semaglutide to tirzepatide and you don't know exactly where they're going to land. You know, they don't want to stay for a whole month on a dose or, you know, even a week. You can work closely with the prescribers to switch that on a daily basis if needed, or even if they are having side effects, you can scale back quickly so the patients aren't feeling really sick.
Yes.
Which is nice. And then in terms of, you know, the 503 comeback, it's almost like the 503B is growing now that we have this opportunity that nobody was really aware of before the GLPs. It wasn't disallowed before, but nobody really ever came out and said you can.
Right.
So now we have so many great opportunities to get the most, you know, most compliant, safest versions of some of these really popular drugs that people are just randomly finding online, you know, into the hands of our patients. So that's where we really love having the pharmacies be able to connect with the 503Bs, and we're excited about PQ's new products that are coming out for sure.
Yep, absolutely. And that's exactly right. That's what we're excited about, is helping equip our community pharmacies and helping them to be able to compete with the online markets, because 30% or more of the patient, like the prescription business, has already moved onto online. And now with the different solutions that we brought into the Atrium24 GPO, with different 503Bs, with telemedicine, now you can keep, and with the Dotti CRM and with the sales system, you can keep those prescriptions in-house, and your patients that you're already serving, you know, if they want these wellness products or if they want GLPs and they're going online and they're finding it there, they're not getting very good patient care. They're polypharmacy. There's not one pharmacist or one pharmacy team looking over their profiles. So that's what all this
almost never know where they're actually getting the product from.
That's true, because it's usually a telemed intermediary that they're paying, and that and they don't know where the product's coming from. Yeah, that's very true. So we're enabling our pharmacies to keep that business in-house and to source from reputable FDA inspected facilities that follow all the rigor that PQ does and that Haley's spoken to. So I'd say if you're most conservative, I would watch what Haley does, and I would watch what's going to happen in his research and development pipeline. If you want to start dispensing the combo products that are coming out now from 503Bs, we do have an announcement going out through Atrium24 that we added a new GPO partner that has tirzepatide and B6. That's going live today, actually. It's check with your state. It's where you are. It's not a clear legal path. You know, if you want a clear legal path,
I don't think you'll have a clear legal path on GLPs for a long time. It changes daily. Yes, and as we've seen, some of the lawsuits have just dragged out for so long that it's hard to get a basis on, you know, what the rulings are going to end up being.
Right.
So it's definitely a risk assessment. We have a lot of pharmacies that I'm fairly risk averse myself, but we have a lot of pharmacies that are a lot more risk tolerant. So it's definitely something to keep in mind.
Yep. Yeah. So it's 503B comeback. They never really went anywhere. It's just
we're ramping up again.
We're ramping up, you know, and we're excited at the pipeline that PQ has. We really enjoy PQ being such a compliant, trustworthy partner as well. You know, because Haley will tell you he has things in research and development, and he's waiting for XYZ in the market to bring it, or things like that. And I think that's really valuable for us as the network to have that insight.
We always feel very confident in the quality that we're getting in the products for sure.
Yes. So let's see. We spoke to this a little bit before. So the Atrium24 GPO, of course we have PQ Pharmacy in there. Our Atrium members, you'll utilize Dotti. Most of you already are in there, but you get discounts on PQ products. All the registration is online in our Dotti software, in the Atrium24 GPO, all the ordering processes, and all the marketing materials. So these are just some examples of the marketing materials. Annie writes the clinical content. So whether it's a prescriber facing sheet or a patient information sheet, the language is a little different. And then when you download these resources from Dotti, it automatically puts your logo where that Dotti logo is, and it puts your pharmacy name and address on the different field on the form. So Annie keeps very busy with the resources.
Yes. Yeah. We typically, if we're putting out a program, we typically have patient information sheets,
Yeah.
which can range from, like maybe 1 per program to 15 per program, depending on, exactly how much information they need, what kind of sheets do they need to help them be successful with the products and make sure that they are safe. And then bag stuffers you can put out for, everybody that's coming in. The prescriber cell sheets are a little bit more medically focused, a little bit deeper into the actual mechanism of how things work. We also have order forms if your state likes them. You can have them branded for your pharmacy or leave them blank. Sometimes we even say, even if your prescribers, they only scribe or they only fax or
Right.
whatever, you can still give them to them, because a lot of times with these, especially with the new wellness programs, they might not know exactly how to dose them. Or exactly how they come. So this
Right.
you can give them specific, so they can even just reference it and say like, oh, it comes in a 5 ml vial. Okay. Or,
Yeah.
okay, this is kind of a standard dosing. Of course, it's just a jumping off point. If you have prescribers that are really into these things, they're going to have their own regimens, which is great. It's just, for those prescribers who maybe are unsure, or just to start off with that marketing.
Sorry.
That's right. We also have, clinical trainings inside Dotti under the Learn menu as well. That's available to all memberships, which are really great, especially with some of these new things that PQ is like coming out with. We just have them generalized to say, like, what is sermorelin? How does it work? What are some of the monitoring parameters? So
that's been really helpful too for our pharmacy owners, techs, reps who are going out and with these materials and, speaking to offices.
Yeah.
They want to feel educated. And so this is a good pharmacy specific clinical training for these wellness.
If your staff doesn't understand it, they're not going to feel comfortable really being able to sell it or educate the providers. So those have been really useful. A lot of people are utilizing those at the moment. And we do have a lot of PQ specific programs that are already developed. So we already have the liraglutide one ready to go. So it has PQ specific information on concentrations, vial sizes. And then, of course, the 2 eyedrop programs we talked about with a lot of additional materials about kind of explaining why, 3 drops in one may be beneficial to your patients, or why, like we spoke of, like not having the preservatives is good for the dry eye. And then, of course, as PQ comes out with their new lines, we'll be releasing PQ specific materials for those as well. But we do already have, general materials for the NAD, sermorelin, glutathione. So there'll definitely be more coming.
Yep. And then inside the Dotti CRM, that's how you grow everything. That's how you access the GPO partners. That's how, like Annie said, you download and access all the marketing resources. That's how you watch all the Learn videos. And really what Dotti was built for is all the data analytics and the CRM. So you can easily visualize your data. You can identify prescriber targets and save your filters. Like, I want to just see the filters of the 50 doctors that this rep of mine or this tech of mine is tagged to. I just want to see these products or these insurance plans. So you can save those tags and filters. You can log all the interactions with your prescriber offices. I don't know how many times we hear, pharmacies are using Google Sheets to track like what's going on with their prescribers, if anything. So Dotti does so much of it automatically for you. And that's where all this stuff lives, all the GPO discounts, all the trainings and all that. We do have ExpediCare telemedicine in our GPO as well. We like this because once you get enrolled and Annie's expert in that, she works with a lot of our pharmacies to get it set up in your pharmacy. You can also upload your formulary. So if you have these compounds in your store and these 503B products, you get a specific URL for your pharmacy that you can put on your website, and then your patients can just see the products that you have, and they can get a clinical consult with the prescriber at ExpediCare, and if it's clinically appropriate, they can e-scribe a prescription into your pharmacy for those products.
Which is really useful right now, especially with a lot of the popular products, because they are kind of outside the scope of most practitioners you'll see, unless they're going to like a wellness clinic. They just might not be familiar with it, so that might make them feel uncomfortable with, you know, prescribing it.
Right.
So then the patients end up just going online. This is a way to
Right.
connect, you
That's
know,
right.
your pharmacy, the good product, the, you know, the education you're able to give behind it,
Yep.
with the patients. So it brings it full circle.
Yep, it absolutely does. And then Atrium X, our conference, I know it feels far away, but it doesn't to us in the planning mode. So March 5th through 7th, in Orlando, we're having our second ever Atrium X conference, and it's already ramping up. It's a totally different format and a different conference than you've ever been to, unless you were there this past time. So Atrium X, check it out. We want to see you there. If you have any questions, any burning questions that you think of, email us at hello@atrium24.io. Also, yeah, you can email us there or on our website, atrium24.io. There's a contact page. You can pop it in there if you want us to. I know I'm getting texts with questions. No, you're supposed to email the questions. No, I'm kidding. It's fine. Because it's an exciting topic. It's an exciting time, exciting topics. We're so appreciative for you, Haley and Austin, and your team over there, Angela, everybody. You guys are so helpful, and I'm looking forward to see what kind of pearls and nuggets you can uncover at this FDA conference coming up as well. Because I looked through the agenda, and there's a bunch of it went way over my head, and it's not anything like regulatory wise that I would probably understand. But some of the agenda topics at this FDA conference look very interesting. So I'll be excited to see what you think, Haley.
I'm excited as well, just to get, you know, unfortunately, they have so many sessions at the same time, so you got to choose one or the other. And usually the best sessions are taking place at the same time. I hate that, but it's okay. I'll get to listen to the rest.
Yeah.
Haley, you spoke earlier. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna have some questions about this, but about some of the peptides that, you know, had been moved strictly to do not compound, which, you know, a lot of patients and pharmacies have been hoping maybe move back. And you said specifically BPC 157 and some of the other more popular ones. What's the time frame you can expect if they decide, like, now that they've received, you know, the information about it, how long does it take them to review that? How long is the typical timeline that they may actually move the product back over again?
So it'll be somewhere by the last quarter of this year. We'll know more. However, if somebody comes after that and says, here it is ready to buy, ready to sell, stay away, because that means they didn't do the R&D.
So do you, I didn't ask you if
So
this was
I
okay, but
I would expect if it will come back, it wouldn't be ready for sale before next year. Otherwise, something is wrong.
so do you have any of those that you're planning to have an R&D for now, just in case?
Yes, but I can't really disclose that because I have to find a DMF supplier. And how can a DMF supplier exist before the products are approved?
All right, well, we'll keep
Am
everything.
I
Budging
confusing?
Haley to
Am
get
I
the information
confusing? I
out
mean,
of
if
him.
somebody
No,
comes
it
up
makes
with a
sense.
product, if the product is not approved yet, so that means the manufacturer of the API have to get their drug master file recorded for me to buy it.
Right.
So
Well, I tell you why I make a face is because I have pharmacies of mine that are, and you're correct, and in the real world too, I have, and you know this, you see this too. I have pharmacies of mine saying, hey, I'm trying to go out and market to my prescribers, and they're getting BPC from this pharmacy. How is this pharmacy doing that? I'm like, well, they're not doing it the right way.
R&D, it's not approved for humans.
So it is a hammer going to come down on those pharmacies, or what happens?
It's I mean, it's just like every industry, okay? So some people that's willing to take the risk, some people don't want to take the risk. So I I can't speak of that. I don't know what happens with them, but I know already the hammer is starting because the FDA, if you guys follow the news, they're exposing the R&D right now. And some of the Congress people are the one who are pushing down. They said, look, you've closed the peptides, you've closed the legal way, the regulated way to do this. Now you need to open it back up again because now all the bad players are getting in.
Right.
And the amount of lawsuit that's happening from patients on peptides who are getting hurt by the R&D will increase because now even the patients did not know that this existed, but now all of this information is coming up and people will be more educated. So that's why the FDA is like, I believe, I mean, most of the talks have been with the HHS and, the Health and Human Services and, and CEDAR and stuff like that, because it's part of the FDA and it's not. So there is a lot of people who are realizing the way we're closing on the 503B, we're closing on the quality products, quality people, letting the market get what the market needs through illegal routes. And I'm hoping, I mean, I expected that to happen from the beginning, but again, if the shortages still exist, please file it. If a patient cannot get it because of money, I don't know if the sequence asks you or not. If a patient cannot get the product, regardless what it is, record it. Money or not money. If I can't get access to my product, I can get access to my product. Healthcare professionals cannot mention the money, but patients can definitely do.
Yeah. It's a crazy world out there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
And I think it's a good thing for pharmacies that coming out, they're kind of strictly saying now, like, okay, there's a difference between compounding pharmacies that are compounding things correctly, and then these people who are out there who are just coming out of the wild, wild west, making these insane products and selling them through these ways. So it's kind of at least pushing towards, you should be getting it through a state regulated pharmacy or a 503B facility. So hopefully that will push some prescribers into recognizing that some of these places are not legitimate.
That might be a good resource for you to make too, Annie.
Yeah, exciting.
She's a little busy with resources right now,
Very
but that might be a good resource for you to make too, as a talking point, like the talking sheets about research grade for the pharmacies to bring out to their prescribers, or about, why we don't compound BPC, what we're waiting for, or why, you know what I mean? Like, without, you don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but you want to say like, hey, here's the regulation, or here's the link to the actual rule, not just like a slick talking or a sales rep that doesn't know the regulation.
Yeah, the sad part is a lot of the state inspectors did not know, but they will be learning. I promise you, this next 3 months is going to be, you guys are going to see a lot of changes, a lot of pressures from your state board of pharmacies. So just please dot your I's and cross your T's. They're learning. They're going after all the pharmacies and all the doctor offices, and they are doing it because the political landscape is asking them to do it. Those who will stand, those are doing it right. Those who are not doing it right, they're not doing it right.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I'd say the biggest takeaway too is documentation. So, if you're a pharmacy and you're working with the 503B, or if whatever it is you're doing, when you do look up their FDA inspections and things, document that, I accessed this site, I looked at this supplier on this date, and this is like document how you vetted your supplier. And I know in Dotti we have like vetting packets, and we have different things, but I would definitely download them. Pharmacy still loves paper, so I would print them and put them in your binder for when your state inspector comes. That way, if you're not there, who's ever there in the pharmacy can pull out the binder and say, well, and then they say, well, who do you order from? Or what is this here from PQ Pharmacy? And then you open the binder. Well, this is our supplier PQ Pharmacy, and this is how we vetted them. And then that way, the inspector doesn't walk in, where'd you get this from? Why? And they start asking questions, and then the staff's like, oh, well, I don't really know.
Yep.
So I
Good
just
advice. Good advice.
Yep. Yeah, somebody really smart told me that advice too back in the day. I don't remember who. It was Hale. He's like, make sure you document, make sure you guys have a binder, make sure you have the things. So, but you're absolutely correct.
It's this is what a pharmacist is expected to do. Again, I never forget that when I went to school was 100 years ago, they used to say, we're the most trusted profession for a reason. We do a lot of stuff we don't get paid for, but we do it because it's the right thing. And I'm just afraid we're gonna lose that with all this research and development stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Well, we really appreciate having you on today.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Yes, we appreciate everything you guys do over there at PQ, and then keep us updated on the FDA stuff. And man, there's new stuff coming out every day, so we'll be talking, I'm sure.
We'll definitely do.
Alrighty, thanks,
Okay.
Haley.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.